Hello guys, welcome back. I know it's been a long time but I'm back again with another manhwa recommendation. For this video, I'm going to be doing the most beloved I reincarnated as a villainess with smart, strong, badass female lead trope. I'm such a big fan of this kind of stories. Keep in mind that I will not be only limiting it to villainess. Regardless of their position, if the female lead displays a girl boss attitude in any way, shape, and form, they will be here 100%. So without further ado, let's get on with the first one. The first one is called Villains Are Destined to Die, also known as The Death is the Only Ending for the Villainess by Suo, original web novel by Gwon Gyu-ul. It is currently ongoing with 63 episodes and its official website is Tapas. After the death of her mother, the illegitimate child named Chaseon gets adopted by her well-off father. Instead of living a comfortable life throughout the years, she was emotionally neglected and verbally abused by her stepbrothers. All she wished for this time is to escape the place and finally have the chance to enjoy life. The moment she is able to attend college, she moves out from there and lives on her own. Now, there was a famous atomic game going around called the Ladies Love Project. She decided to try it to understand the hype around the game, and she really did understand after playing the game until morning. In the game, there are two modes which are normal and hard. In normal mode, the main character is Yvonne Icard. She is the real daughter of the Icard family who's been missing for a long time. She made a comeback on the debut of the foster daughter Penelope Icard. Yvonne instantly captured the hearts of all people including the main leads, but Penelope would always bully her. In any of the routes or ending, Yvonne always has her happy ending while Penelope meets her death. The goal of the game is to raise the favorability of the male leads. The moment it reaches a 100% from any of them, the player will receive a confession of love and a happy ending. When Sion finished the normal mode, she couldn't get enough of it and so she tried the hard mode. In the hard mode, the game is played from the perspective of the villainess Penelope Icard. The favorability starts at 0% instead of 30%. Even a negative from one of the male lead making it more difficult. One wrong move from Penelope and she's dead. There, she gets to experience who Penelope really is. She gets to know that Penelope was mistreated by the servants and family members ever since her young age. So she instantly gets that connection and understanding with her since they are kinda in the same position. She learned to be cold around the people and depend on herself. After many attempts of completing the game, Penelope always dies so Sion gets frustrated. She thought it was a really unfair situation for Penelope. Yvonne easily gets all the love without any effort, while Penelope needs to beg just to receive a little. With these emotions, she suddenly falls into a deep sleep, and when she wakes up, she is greeted by a familiar scene and later realizing that she is now Penelope. There are 5 male leads, also known as the target characters. They are the ones which Penelope is supposed to get that 100% favorability in order to have her happy ending. The first one is Derek Icard, who is the eldest son of the Icard family and adoptive older brother of Penelope. He is described as cold-hearted and occasionally shows unfavorable behavior towards Penelope. Next is Reynold Icard, the second son of the Icard family and also Penelope's adoptive brother. He's like the loud one and would openly abuse Penelope whenever he had the chance, and also he's the one with the negative 10% as a starting point. Third is Callisto Regulus. He is the crown prince of the empire. He is shown to be a violent and intimidating character as he is also the one who kills Penelope the most in the normal mode. Fourth is Winter Verdandi. He is the mysterious sorcerer and head of this secret guild where a lot of information can be bought by different people. In the original story, he is the one who brought Yvonne back to the Icard's family. The last one is Eclipse. He was formerly a noble and after the War of the Two Nations, he became a slave. But because of his sword skills, he caught the attention of Duke Eckhart and later became a sword master. This is definitely a lot to take in, but trust me, you will be in for such a great experience. The way that the story folded from Penelope's perspective is so interesting. Her journey into avoiding her death and the way that she made this big decisions will get you to keep rooting for her. There's also a lot of scenes that will make you feel so excited because it gets really intense. The second one is called Father, I Don't Want to Get Married by Roal and Yuri. an original web novel by Hong Hee-soo. It is currently ongoing with 32 episodes and its official website is Tapitoon. Juvilian is seen as the villainess by the people. The story starts where Juvilian is framed as the one who poisoned the drink of the princess of the kingdom. Knowing that she is not the one to do it, of course, she denies it. The princess is very close with her fiancé Marquis Mikhail, and because she is known to be violent and aggressive towards the women surrounding her fiancé, people took it as Juvilian being jealous of them instead of actually listening to her reason. So the emperor gave her a punishment of imprisonment. Juvilian became hopeless at this point because no one believes her. She admitted to herself that she hates the princess for stealing her fiancé from her but not to the point of killing her. Her father, Duke Regis, is a leader of the Central Army and a royal guard. He volunteered to imprison her own daughter in the Chamber of Shadows, which is a secluded place where the prisoners can't do anything, including magic. She begs to her father to believe her, but Reggie only gave her a knife and left. Juvilian took it as her father giving up on her since she realized that he was never on her side in the first place. So when she arrived in the prison, she has no hope left in her. The next minute, the Crown Prince came to visit. The Crown Prince is known to be very violent and the type to shut his opponents off swiftly. He's basically the ruthless swordsman that is everyone is scared, so she thought that him visiting her means he's going to kill her and take revenge. Before the Crown Prince explains his visit, Juvilian refused to die at his hands, and so she took the knife her father gave her and kills herself. Fast forward, instead of dying, she found herself to be back again at her place, but this time it seems that she is determined to change her fate. She made it a goal to not repeat her death, enjoy her father's wealth, and later have her freedom. The first thing she does is break off with her fiancé. When she thought that it would go smoothly from there, it seems that her father Regis is going to be arranging another marriage for her. Tired and scared whether she will be paired with a random guy or even worse, the crown prince, she had enough and thought that she cannot let this happen. In order to escape this tragedy, she came up with the idea to arrange a marriage of her own with none other than the guy closest to her who is the student of his father. As you can see, it is a crazy start, but the story only begins from there. There are a lot of misunderstandings, but honestly, it's not the one that will get you in a bad mood. It's the opposite. It's entertaining, but sometimes it gets frustrating, like you just want them to talk it out, but surprisingly, it's different from here. The entertaining part defeats the frustrating. The real highlight of the series is Duke Regis, like, girl. Anyways, I still don't forgive him for treating Julian like that in her first life, but he actually cares about his daughter, but he feels on showing it. Next thing to talk about is the duality of our male lead Max. He's a very strict and intimidating man, but whenever he's with Julian, he just becomes different, like he basically becomes a lost puppy wanting to be taken care of. The only thing I wish is for them to sit down for a while, be more open with each other, and communicate just so there is no more misunderstanding. On the other hand, I know the revelation of their actual connection with each other will be worth it, so I'm also excited and very much looking forward to it. The last one is called The Villainess Lives Again, also known as The Villainess Lives Twice by Peach Berry, an original web novel by Handmint. It is currently ongoing with 60 episodes and its official website is Tapitoon. The mother of our female lead, artisan Roseanne, also known as Tia, always told her to support her brother Lawrence. Throughout the years, Tia was the one to do the dirty work. It includes scheming people and such behind the scenes just so Lawrence can inherit the throne. The story starts when Tia is accused of killing her nephew and is now held by the Imperial Guards. Now that he is in the position, he framed Tia to eliminate her. Hearing the allegations, Tia only provoked him by saying how is he still a coward and not fit to be a emperor, causing her to be imprisoned. There she was given a punishment of having her tongue and hands cut off so she can't speak anymore and commit more crimes. At this point, she looked helpless and is ready to accept her death, since in her mind she knows she also committed a lot of crimes and dying is the only way out. One day, a group of people break the prison and it's actually the people of Duke Cedric Efron who is, let's just say, is the good man in this story, and instead of killing Tia, he asks her to help them turn the situation around, but at this point, Tia have already given up, not until Cedric spoke up, and then she realized how unfair the situation is for both of them. Cedric sparked a hope for Tia to regret the things she's been doing. With her last remaining strength, she created an ancient magic circle which has the power to fulfill any wish in exchange for a human life. She wished for Cedric to have his wish fulfilled in exchange for her life, but unexpectedly, she was the one to be brought back at the time and was given a chance to change that terrible ending of hers, including Cedric. Tia is a beloved character of mine. The way she handles these different conflicts makes it look so effortless, like she just looks so calm and collected. She is so smart and elegant while doing all of that, when if I were to be put in her situation, I would honestly give up so easily. She is carefully using her power to reach the top and prevent the future tragedy. It's so nice to see her finally doing what she wants to do instead of being manipulated by her mother. The first chapters of the story might be slow for you, but if you just hang in there, it will be so worthwhile. And lastly, the romance between Tia and Cedric is kinda the type you want to see more because they start like a sort of business partner, and from there, they slowly progress. Nonetheless, they are just so supportive and they always got each other back. Other thing, politics and management are frequently talked about in this one, so if you're interested in those subjects, I think this would be perfect for you. That is all for the video. I did not expect it to be this long, but I really wanted to give a proper introduction to each one of them since, let's be real, this trope has the craziest storylines and I hope I'm able to cover them for you. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe. It really helps the channel a lot. Have a good day and see you next time.